Dead Snow 2, Red vs. Dead is an epic Nazi zombie-based comedy horror gore-filled masterpiece directed by Tommy Wirkola. Filmed back-to-back in both English and Norwegian in Iceland and released in 2014. The film begins with a grand recap of Dead Snow 1, then jumps directly into the action, as these films should, drawing influence from Phantasm and Evil Dead before it, and directly resolving the cliffhanger of Dead Snow 1. From here, the movie continually gains in momentum and excitement, and grandeur as more history, plot, characters, and extremely powerful direction leads us directly into and through the splatter-filled comedic genre masterpiece, until a powerful and epically choreographed and executed final battle. Dead Snow 2 stands as not only a masterpiece within the genre of horror, but it is indeed one of the best zombie films ever made. Before we get into it, zombie smash that subscribe for me. And if you're unfamiliar with Dead Snow 1, you may want to check out my review and synopsis. I have left a link in the description below and in the cards on the upper right-hand side of the screen. I apologize for any and all botched pronunciations.
I don't speak the language of Thor.
And without any further ado, Dead Snow 2 begins with a masterful recap of Dead Snow 1, in which a group of vacationing medical students accidentally steal Nazi treasure, then jumps directly into the action, resolving the cliffhanger ending of Dead Snow 1. Herzog, the leader of the Nazi zombies, portrayed by Orjan Gamst, attacks Vegar Hoel, who returns as Martin for a gold coin that falls out of his pocket. A troop of Nazi zombies arrives to aid him, and Martin is drawn into battle, during which he escapes and crashes Herzog into a truck, severing his Nazi arm from his body. Martin passes out, crashes, and awakens in a hospital where they have found Herzog's arm resting in Martin's car, and assuming it was his, have reattached the arm to his own person, setting up a grand plot in which Martin's arm initially is insane and acts on its own, but once he gains control of it, it increasingly reveals more and more superpowers, setting Martin up as a superhero-esque Ash Williams trope, who not only effectively fulfills his role, but defines and fleshes himself out as unique. His abilities, acting, action scenes, and persona are all done to a near perfection. And it adds the age-old tale of man versus evil, whatever form it may take, and essentially pushes a heroic narrative that vastly raises the bar of the previous film. Meanwhile, the Nazi doctor, who has saved Martin's arm from the mountain, attaches it to Herzog, who absorbs the arm into his system. This seems to marry him to Martin in some strange spiritualistic way, further defining their destinies as two forces of good and evil which must eventually clash. Herzog then kills the local priest and raises him as a Nazi fanatic, after being tranquilized for having an arm with a murderous mind of its own. Martin wakes to the ninja-esque Bobby, who has snuck into his room to get info for the zombie squad. Not only does Martin lie and get Bobby to release him for chocolate.
I have chocolate.
You do?
Yeah.
Nice.
Double, triple fudge.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
But shortly after telling Bobby there is no chocolate,
No chocolate?
Shut the fuck up.
What?
Martin's arm chucks Bobby through a window. While trying to perform CPR on him, the arm crushes his chest. A cop gives chase, and Martin's arm again takes over, ninja starring him with a hood ornament. Martin breaks into a car and escapes. He receives a call from
Daniel Heffernan, leader of the zombie squad. Is Bobby there?
Bobby,
I don't speak the language of Thor.
Martin explains the situation.
well, Bobby was killed by zombies. We came up to the cabin and there was a bunch of Nazi zombies. I think they wanted treasure.
Were any of you bitten?
We were all bitten. We didn't become one of them. We just died.
We are then introduced to the zombie squad, a ridiculous trio of American nerds, whose leader, portrayed by Martin Starr, provides beyond epic levels of comedic relief, in a movie that is full of tons of epic and well-executed humor. The other members are portrayed very well, by Jocelyn Deboer as Monica, and Ingrid Haas as Blake. The zombie squad heads for Norway, When arriving, they stock up in a scene that seems to owe visual homage to Phantasm 2. Martin visits a World War II museum in an attempt to learn more about Herzog, meeting Glenn, portrayed by Stig Frode Henriksen, who has returned from Dead Snow 1, in which he portrayed Roy, and discovers a great deal of history, injecting the plot and mythology with more Nazi lore. As it is revealed, Hitler himself ordered Herzog to lay waste to Talvik. And it seems Herzog's goal is to fulfill this final mission, the complete destruction of Talvik. Much of this is semi-factual based, as an actual group of Einsatzgruppen were stationed in Norway circa 1941. As Martin delves into the history of Herzog and learns of his plans, Herzog lays waste to the people outside in a huge zombie massacre and arms himself with a tank. Martin and Glenn watch in horror as Herzog begins reviving the corpses and adding to his Nazi ranks. Herzog then enters the museum and arms his troop with ancient weapons from World War II. As Martin and Glenn disguise themselves as mannequins in a hilarious scene, Martin begins to gain control of his hand, and in doing so becomes somewhat of a superhero. Martin tries to shut a corpse's eyes and accidentally revives it, revealing the grand narrative that two zombie armies will be created, one good and one evil, for a climactic battle. After killing it again and reviving it again, the zombie squad shows up, netting their first kill, killing it yet again. The leader, Daniel, realizes this is how they will win. They will make their own undead army. He has been studying on the way over and introduces us to Lieutenant Stavaren of the Soviet Army, injecting the already Norwegian and Nazi-based lore with a Russian backdrop which fits perfectly and adds more life to the ever-developing plot and thick mythology and history the film is based on. Stavaren and his troop were captured during the Battle of Kursk and brought to the north of Norway as POWs. In 1944, they were sent to build a road in Kven Mountain. After they built the road, they were all shot to death by Herzog and his troop. The bodies are still buried in the mountains.
Waiting for the same thing that drives Herzog. Revenge. Ka-fucking...
Daniel and Martin and his sidekick Zombie head to the mountains as Herzog's troop, now armed with a tank, lays waste to the countryside, indiscriminately killing men, women, and children, in, as always, an insanely gory montage of Nazi zombie destruction. And perhaps it is here that I should mention, this film is gory as all hell. If you wade in and complain about gore, you have well been forewarned. This is, in my opinion, not a weakness in this film, as the gore is done very well and almost always done very comedically. Although it becomes so over the top, I cannot say it is done tastefully. It is part of the splatter genre, and here, in this setting, it is fitting and epic, and only adds to the grandness that is the film. But it is gory, filled with a grand plethora of intestines and evisceration. In one scene, a man is disemboweled to near completion, and his intestinal tract is used as a siphon to fuel the Nazis' tank with diesel from a bus. I feel it fair to say you have now been warned, and however untasteful these aspects are, it is arguable that within this genre, it is done tastefully. Another aspect that must be mentioned is the action. The action is amazing. It is harder than it should be to find a director who can truly depict great action. As easy as it seems, action, reaction. It fails far too many directors who inject speedy, hard-to-decipher kung fu into an elaborate and beyond physically impossible web of trash and speedy cut scenes. But not Wirkola. Wirkola effectively utilizes a great talent for action, and all of his action scenes just flat-out work. Many of the zombies were mixed martial arts fighters and willing to do wild stunts, and this further allowed Werkola to direct a variety of great action scenes. Overall, I have nothing but applaud for Dead Snow 2's epic action. And I believe in this film, Werkola shows himself as a director who understands gore, violence, and action on a masterful level. The remaining zombie squad and Glenn attempt to slow Herzog's troop via hilarious intervention.
I didn't know there was supposed to be an ugly face convention in town. Well, come get me then. Come get me.
Upon reaching the mountainous graves of the Russians, Martin does a super punch and raises Stavarin and 50 Russian zombies, who look like they've been chucking kettlebells around. They present themselves before Martin as his army of the dead. Of note, the lead Russian zombie is portrayed by Derek Mears of Jason Voorhees' Friday the 13th reboot fame. And in one of my all-time personal favorites, he plays the insane and over-the-top SWAT leader in the perfection that is Hatchet 3. Martin and Daniel, accompanied by the Russian undead, intercept Herzog at Talvik, and a grand and well-executed, gory, hilarious, and completely over-the-top final melee ensues, in which the Russian zombies, Martin, Glenn, and the zombie squad face off against Herzog's troop, while the police comedically hide and watch on. The lead Russian zombie, Stavarin, does get the advantage and physically bests Herzog, seeming simply stronger. But when he attempts to finish the job, Herzog's numbers outdo him, and he is stabbed in the back. Herzog then smashes his head with a pickaxe. Here we witness Herzog's tactical experience and abilities, which eventually lead him to taking a huge advantage. He is simply set up for war, with his station to repair zombies and get them back into action, a tank, and what appears to be at least the semblance of a sustainable army. Whereas when the Russians and Martin's resurrected go down, they are probably done for. This is not Herzog's first rodeo, where in Martin's case, although arguable he has done battle before, this is his first all-out rodeo in which he is commanding a troop. He simply doesn't have the experience and tactical knowledge. But, considering he is flying by the seat of his pants, he has done quite well with what he has been given. As the situation continues to grow worse and worse, Monica realizes that the troop is attached to Herzog, like the Russians are attached to Martin. And Herzog, much like a lich's phylactery, must go down to kill everything. Martin goes insane against Herzog, and in a hilarious and well-filmed battle action-wise, Martin essentially gets his ass kicked by Herzog for 90% of the fight. And as already mentioned, the action is nearly perfect. Meanwhile, Daniel has a great battle in the tank, full of both humor and action. And when the tank blasts through the house, Martin is able to get the advantage on Herzog, albeit through luck. Eventually, as the Russian army is stamped out, the Nazi zombies pin Glenn, Monica, and Blake in a circle. Glenn almost proclaims he is gay, then is slain. Daniel, after being stabbed, bests his Nazi competitor and takes control of the tank. After Martin seems to have bested Herzog, the tank abruptly stops, slamming Martin in the car ahead. As Herzog moves in to kill Martin, unaware Daniel is leading the tank. Martin asks if he knows.
You lost the war.
And adds,
We lose again.
as his head is literally blown to the mountains, as his zombie troop falls lifeless to the ground. Everyone rejoices and celebrates. The zombie squad leaves. The police make jokes, and Martin drives away, revives Hannah, his dead girlfriend from Dead Snow 1, and in a hilarious scene proceeds to make out with and have sex with her as his zombie sidekick watches on. After the end credits roll, Herzog's head is picked up by the Nazi doctor and seen to revive, bringing many ideas and questions up, such as, will the doctor simply attach Herzog's head to his old body, or a new body, and then resume destruction of Talvik? And also, if Herzog is not dead, or never died, how was the Nazi doctor alive to retrieve his head in the first place? Why did his entire troop fall to their deaths? And if he just woke up, then did his entire troop also just wake up? Ideas that are perhaps never going to be resolved, although many of them will likely be at least delved into in the according to the internet most likely happening Dead Snow 3. Overall, Dead Snow 2 is an epically gory, outrageously comedic, overly grandiose swing which resulted in a pure home run. Dead Snow 2 is simply, in my opinion, one of the greatest zombie films ever made. No, it does not outdo the top masterpieces of the genre, and it is not the greatest zombie movie ever made. But if I were to do a top 10 zombie list, Dead Snow 1 would likely make the list, and Dead Snow 2 would most definitely make that list. Thus, for me, it is indeed one of the greatest zombie movies ever made. That said, if you are turned off by gore, or by the horror genre in general, or if perhaps you are averse to campy violence, then I do not recommend this film to you. If you are a fan of the genre and enjoy films like The Evil Dead, or even Brain Dead, the supposed goriest film ever made, which is mentioned in Easter egg format in the original film, then this movie will most likely hold a special place in your heart, and I most definitely recommend it to you. Thank you so much for wading through the insanities of the masterpiece of Nazi zombie Draugr gore, that is Dead Snow 2, Red vs. Dead. I have new videos coming out all the time, so please hit that like and subscribe. And until then, keep sleepwalking, my friends.